Hi everyone. I'm in the corner now. I'm down here. So today we're doing Lab 4. Let's go over the first question. We're supposed to get the sum of positive numbers, not including zero, and use a while loop to accomplish this. Okay, I'm going to type out these things, and then I will explain the code. Okay, let's type. First, we want to import our Java scanner so that we can take user input. Let's do our import. Spelt it wrong. This is so that I can take user input. This is why we're using this. Okay, now let's write the rest of the code. After this, we're going to start entering the rest of our code. So first, we have to create a new scanner object so that it can read the user's input. Let's type that one out. I'll format it later properly. This piece of code is creating a scanner object to read input from the user. Next section of the code, we're going to initialize our variable. See, we're using int because we're using numbers. I'm going to call my variable number. Keep it simple. And it's going to be equal to 0. Thingy thing right here. We have initialized our variable. This will initialize our variable, which is number, to store the user's input. Mhm. Next, let's start our while loop. WHLE. This first while loop is to ensure the user enters a positive number, not including 0. Okay, let's continue. Now we're gonna put in our print statement. so that we can ask the user for input. Let's put that in. And I'm going to do this. POSITIVE, positive number. Positive number, but not 0. Enter a positive number, but not 0. This statement here is going to tell the user to enter a positive number, but they cannot enter 0. Mhm. We're going to use our variable again. Number equals enter. Okay, this section of code, this is not right. This is not right. Next dot int, let me write it in there. Next dot int is the code, so that the code reads the user input and stores it in the variable number, which is here. Mhm. Moving on. Okay, let's finish writing the rest of this. Write our print statement quick. I'm just gonna copy this right here so I don't have to write it again. Copy, and do a cute little paste, add our parentheses and our semicolon, just for syntax purposes. That is not a positive number. Try again. Try again. Period. Okay. Try again. Period. Point blank. Period. All right. Outside of these, we're going to use We're going to initialize another variable. I will explain it in a moment. So that no one gets confused, I will go back from the tippy top of the code down to the bottom and explain it line by line, bar for bar. Okay? We're going to use I. And then space equals space is this. Remember your syntax. Awesome. Okay, this right here. Wait, wait. This is not what's up. You forgot to do the sum. Not dumb. Sum is equal to 0. And then we're gonna have our other integer in here. I space I space is 1. Uh-huh. Okay, let me explain these new integers and the new variables. These, for this line of code right here, this variable will store the sum of numbers from 1 to the number entered by the user. On this one, this variable is to control the loop for summoning the numbers. Okay, which is up here. Okay, awesome. Let's continue. We're going to make another while loop. While I, we're using our variable number again. All right. Have our while loop started. This second while loop will calculate the sum of the integers from 0 to the variable number. So basically what the user inputted. Let's finish out our while loop. This code right here will add and convert the value of I to the sum. See, this is right here. It's converting I to the sum. Okay, we're keeping that. And then we're gonna do I plus plus. Now this code is to increment I to move to the next number. So it's gonna increment by 1. Let's start to finish out this code. Outside of here, we're going to bring it all together. Once I finish typing this, I will explain it. FIS. I'm going to just copy from here. I'm not about to retype that over and over and over and over. Basically this, but I'm going to put the ln in there so that there's a space afterwards. Unlike these up here, I don't need space. Okay. Do this. Your syntax is good. Bam, boom, bang. Oh, the itchy sum of numbers one, oops, that's all right, from one to base plus space plus variable number per plus the space variable sum plus space, and then we're gonna end off the situation. We're gonna end it off with a period so that it's very concise. Okay, let me finish this out real quick. Almost done with it. Then we're gonna enter this. Okay, let me explain. I want more space in between these two. I don't like being that close together. Um, Let me explain the rest of this code right here. So this code right here will display the result of the sum to the user. The little plus signs are used to are used for starting concatenation, or basically to combine the text with the values, number, and sum. Basically, we're combining the text that's within these quotation marks with the variables. Okay. And then we're doing this scanner.close. It's to close the scanner to prevent any like errors or leaks and things like that. Voila, that's what's up. Okay, now let's make it big. Bring this over. Okay, let's run it. We'll save it first. Oh, it's screaming at me. It's screaming at me. Screaming at me. Why is it screaming at me? Hold on. It's screaming at me. After looking at my code, I see what I did. It's just a typo. Bam, boom, it works. There we go. It stopped screaming at me. It was just a typo. Okay, let's see. Okay, it says enter a positive number, but not zero. Okay, I think I'm gonna put 5. Oops, I forgot to click down here. I'm gonna put 5. The sum of the numbers is 1 to 5 is 15. I did a little spacing is wrong. I can fix it. But as you can see, it works. Let's move on to the next one. This one I just call MPH, so because basically, let me explain what's going on here. The screen may be black right now, but I'm just reading the instructions. So basically, for number 2, it's basically miles per hour. I'm supposed to write a program that asks the user the speed of the vehicle in miles per hour and the number of hours in the it has traveled. It should use a loop to display the distance a vehicle has traveled for each hour of time specified by the user. Okay, let's get back to it. Now, we're going to typically type this stuff in. Might take a little minute. Might take a little minute. Give me a sec. First, we're going to import the scanner so that we can take users' input. Okay, let's type her in. Import. That is not how you spell it. It's not I-N, it's I-M. Okay. Explain that portion. We're gonna skip all the way down into here. Now we're going to create a new scanner object. Basically what we did over here. I'm going to use basically the same situation. Let me type it out real quick. Now we're going to initialize our variables, which will be speed and time. And we're going to be using int because we're using what? Numbers. We're using numbers. Space. Our variable will be speed. Speed. Space one. And then time. On this piece of code right here, we have initialized speed with an invalid value. And then here we have initialized time with a invalid value. Now let's start our while loop. Okay, this while loop will ensure that the user input is for input validation for the speed so that the user is unable to run the code if they put in a non-negative number. Okay, let's finish this while loop real quick with our print statements and all that. Yes, that's fine. Okay, we're going to ask the user to enter the speed of the vehicle in miles per hour and specify that it must be a positive number. Okay, let's write that in. We're going to add that space so everything doesn't look all jumbled together. All right. This piece of code will read the user input. Will read the user input right there. Perfect. It will read the user's input. Now let's do our if statement. I don't like the fact that it's so close. E, not my favorite. Now we're going to do another print statement. So I'm going to put in basically like an error message. So if the user puts in a negative number, I'll just say, hey, that's negative. You cannot put in a negative number for speed. Okay. 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 Invalid, invalid in invalid input. We can not be negative and not be negative, period. Give it a cute little space. Cool. Let's move on. I'm trying to give it some space. Now we're going to have this second while loop. The second loop will, let's just hold off for that explanation. Let me type it out first so that you can visualize what I'm talking about. make us another print statement. Okay, let's get back to this. I said I would explain. This is so that the user can input value. This is input validation for time, our variable time. So it must be at least 1 hour. They can't put in like 30 minutes. It has to be an hour. Okay. Now we're going to tell the user to enter the time the car has traveled and specify that it has to be at least an hour, not 30 minutes, not 2 minutes. They drove like an hour, an entire hour. So let's enter that now. I'm forgetting some. Yes, LED. There we go. There we go. Traveled and then specify that it has to be at least an hour. Hmm, One HR. I'm gonna just say HR, shorten it real quick to shorten it. Okay. I'm gonna do this, give a nice space right there. Next. Now you have to make sure that the input for the variable time can be read. Let's type out that specific part of the code. Oops. Typo. Okay. This is so that time can be read. The input that the user input, if the user put in an hour or two, code will be able to read it. Okay. Next. I don't like how close that is. Ooh, yeah, real quick. There we go. Let's write our print statement again. The print statement, specify what I'm asking for and what I'm stating. So I'm about to write another error message so that the user is unable to run the code if they enter an invalid number. Stop the quotations. Good. Wait. I can just copy it. Up here. Yeah. Just change the words around. Less typing for me. Invalid input. And uh, instead of this portion being like this, we're gonna put time. Time At least 1 hour. Time must be at least 1 hour. Or we're gonna put a space in between so we don't go crazy. Space right there too. Some of the spacing is a little off. I'm fixed everything. There we go. I don't need everything running together when I print it out. Everything when I run the code. Okay, let's get on out of here. Move on down past this. Okay, now for this, since I have to print it out in like table format, I have to create that table. So let's create that table real quick. We're going to, ooh, not that. Control Z. I meant to copy this and paste it here. I must have clicked somewhere else, Woo. Uh, here we go. Distince. Okay, that's right. That's right. That's right. Okay. Um, this backslash T is just so that there's a big space in between. So when you click the tab button, so that they're not like running together. I'm going to put a little space in between these because it makes it better for me to read it. But when it prints out, it'll be it'll be fine. Okay, let me finish this up. Basically, another print statement, and I'm going to put some dashes because we did a nice example of using dashes in class to do some separation. I think that should be enough. Okay, this is a display the header for the output. Basically, this is like the header for the table right here. And these little dashes is to separate the hours and distance from the numbers that would be below. All right, let's get back in on there into it. That's what that's for. Now we're going to use our for. Okay, this next loop is to calculate and display the distance for each hour. Let's do it real quick. Okay, give me a second. I'm going to reference our PowerPoint slides that basically the PowerPoint slides and what we did for our for loop when we first learned the for loop. Give me just a moment to explain this section of code. Okay, so here we're initializing, we're doing our initialization. And here we are testing. And then here we are updating. I'm going to put spaces in between this stuff because it's really difficult for me to read if I don't space it out. Yes, make sure I can clearly see what's what. Okay, now first we initialized, did our initialization for the hour. Now we're testing hour and time, and then we're going to update hour at the end. Okay, let's. We have a new variable named distance. So we're going off the what is it? The formula given to us by the instructions. Distance equals speed times hour. Where's the multiplication symbol? There we go. This is spell it Distance. Yeah, that's how you spell it. Okay, okay. This will calculate the distance from the current hour. So basically the hour that the user inputs. Mhm. Now we're going to finish it out with a print statement so that we can bring this table full circle. Do this. We want a extra line afterwards, so put that there. HOUR. DE. That is how you spell that. DIS. Let me just DIS. Let me just copy from up here. I don't need no typos. Okay, there we go. This last piece of the code will display hour and the distance that goes with it. So let's save this and make this into a big screen so that you can see everything from top to the bottom. So this is everything. This is the whole code. Let's run it. Okay, so it says enter the speed of the car in miles per hour. Must be positive. Let's say I'm going 20 miles per hour. Okay, we're in a school zone. And then they're like, oh, you're going 20 miles per hour for how long? Let's say we're going 20 miles per hour for 2 hours, and it will print out the distance. Something's off. Something's off. Give me a second. Let me fix it. Let me fix it. So I figured out why the table looks like that. It was a typo. I didn't put L in this portion in this print statement, which in turn made everything print all on the same line when I want an extra space after this is printed out. Okay, let's save this and print it out now. So, like we did before, let's say we're going 20 miles per hour for 2 hours. And here's the chart. It says hours, distance, and then it also has this here. It also has how how many hours it takes to drive 1 hour, how many hours it takes to drive 2 hours. So it's just doing the whole shebang. Cool. Let's move on to the next thing. Now we're going to read question 3. Write a program with a loop that lets the user enter a series of integers. The user should enter -99 to signal the end of the series. After all numbers have been entered, the program should display the largest and smallest number entered by the user. Okay, let's type this up. Now we're going to write our import so that we're going to import the scanner class so that we can use class for, we're going to use user input so that we can use user input. Okay. Import. What? What? Oh, I'm not even typing. I'm so silly. I will explain in just a moment. I don't like this being so close to everything. Need space here, space here. Jeez, it needs its own little line. Import. Now we're going to start typing up our code. We're going to initialize. We're going to initialize our scanner object. We're creating a scanner object, basically. Now we are going to initialize our variables. Okay. And we're going to use int to so that we can use numbers. Did I spell scanner wrong? I don't think so. Hold on. Okay, for this one, we haven't named it yet. Okay, for this section of code, let's start from the top. We have initialized the variable largest. It will be updated with the user input. Then we initialize the variable smallest. It will be updated using the user's input. And then we use the variable number to store the number that the user has entered. We have a new variable. Okay, so this code will flag to check if this if if it's the first input. This will check if the first input is there, basically. So we're going to start our loop. We're going to use our variable number. Just a reminder, number is to store the number that the user entered. Okay, this line of code is so that to ensure that the code will stop once the user enters -99. Let's put in our print statement. Now we're going to ask the user to enter a number, but inform them that they can end this series, this we they can end the code by typing in -99. So enter a number, and then we're going to specify that they can end this by putting in -99. Enter a number, enter a number, and enter -99 to end. Enter -99 to end. We're gonna put this here in a little space so that the configuration looks better. I don't like when it don't look right. It's just a thing. Next, we're gonna start off our if. Okay, this here is is basically saying if the user enters -99, stop stop the code. Stop asking the user to enter a number. We're going to create another one. This next if statement will set. It's basically for the first valid input, it will set up both the largest and the smallest. So code will be looking for the largest number and the smallest number. Okay, let's finish it out. We're going to use our variable first input again. And we're going to use our variables again. I'm just going to copy them from up here. First, second, third, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to just copy it from up here and edit it as needed. Okay, so we have all this right here. Okay, so number should equal largest should equal the variable number. Number. And then smallest will equal the variable number also. And then this will not be number. This will be something else. This will be first input. I'm gonna just copy it from here so there's no typos. First input will equal fall. Okay, let me explain each and every section of this. So for the first valid input, it will set both largest and smallest. So for this line sets the largest to the first input. This second one sets the smallest to the first input. And then this one here will change the flag to indicate the first input. Basically, the flag appeared. It's checking if you put in negative 99. Oops, messed that up a little bit. Fix that back. That's weird. Okay. Let's scroll on down. Okay, so basically, this will be checking if the number is larger than the current largest number, if that makes sense. Okay, I'm just copying from here. I don't want no typos. Her in here, largest. This right here will update the largest number. So, for example, if you put in 6, that would be the largest number out of whatever you put. And then you put a number that's larger than 6, it will update to that number. Okay. And then let's go down here, write us another one. Now we're basically going to do the same thing for smallest. So I'm just going to basically copy this. I'm going to just copy these 2 lines real quick so I don't have to rewrite everything. And switch out the names. It wouldn't be largest, it would just say smallest instead of largest, and the sign would be flipped. Okay, so this section here checks if the number is smaller than the current smallest. So basically the same example. So if you put in 5 and then you put in 3, 3 would be the smallest number. It would update using this line of code to 3, since 5 was the previous smallest number. Okay. And now we're going to go down here, put in our last little section. We're almost done. We're almost done. This section will be for the first input. I'm gonna just come up here. Hit first input, and then we're gonna do our print statements. We're specifying I'm just doing like a little skeleton real quick so that I don't have to keep simply typing everything out. It gets a little tedious. Okay, so this right here, this chunk of code will be will display the largest and smallest numbers entered by the user. Let's do that really fast. Let's specify by using this string. Largest number entered is this. I think I would just copy largest here, then smallest there. I just realized that I spelled smallest all types wrong. I don't think I want to go back and correct that. I'm not about to go back. I'm not. Okay, largest number ENT entered was this. Plus our variable largest. It's going to print out whatever the largest number is. Then we're going to put our variable smallest. So here, this is checking if any valid numbers were entered, and this will print out the smallest number that was entered using the user's input and the smallest number that was entered using the user's input. Okay, and if none of this happens, it will give an error message. I will write it right now. No valid numbers were entered. And we cannot forget our scanner at the end. so that there's no errors at the top. I've just been trying to make this a habit when I practice coding so that I do not have errors later on in my code. Okay, let's save it. Okay, so let's fix this real quick. I'm going to have this, I'm going to format it, do the formatting, Alt Shift F so that it looks better. Voila, it looks better. Okay, let's run her. Oh, let me stop running it real quick. Let's run it. Okay, enter integer number, whatever. Let's do 5. Well, oh, I'm slow. 5, enter 7, enter 10, enter. And I want it in the code, so I'm going to put in -99. And the largest number was 10, the smallest number was 5. Okay, let's move on. I will be reading the instructions to you in just a moment. I know the screen might look black, but I'm reading the instructions. Question 4. Write a program that displays a table of temperatures 0 through 20 and their Fahrenheit equivalents. The formula for converting temperature from Celsius to Fahrenheit is F equals 9 divided by 5 times C plus 32, where F is Fahrenheit temperature and C is the Celsius temperature. Your program must use a loop to display the table. All right, let's do that really fast. Let's display our table. Shouldn't take too long. Into it. Okay, we're going to do something really similar to what we did in in miles per hour when we create this table. We're going to use something similar like this, or basically the same. We're going to do that. So first, let's create our table. Uh, excuse me. We have I'm capitalizing everything. SYS. We're gonna have two print statements like the other one. Give me a moment. Copy that. Whatever it's screaming at me about, I'll figure it out in a moment. What is it screaming at me about? Okay, whatever. I'll get back to it. Let me make sure. Let me read this. SYTEM out print PRINTLN. Yeah, that's what's up. Okay. I don't know why it's being funny to me. So we're going to put in the names of the temperatures. This is basically tabs so that there's space in between the two names. Oh, I put it in the wrong spot. I'm so silly. This is supposed to be where the dashes go. This is supposed to be first. Put about that many dashes. Move on. Oh, I'm typing in the wrong place. I'm over here. I'm way at the top. No wonder it's screaming at me. I'm like, oh, I'll figure it out later. I'm so silly. Okay. So let me explain this little section of the code real quick. This here will display a table with the names of the temperatures. The T adds a tab space between the two headers for better, so that it looks better and so that it's easier to read. Okay. Now let's start on our loop. We're using integers, so we're going to use int Celsius. Celsius, like the drinks, physical space. Um, we're initializing, and then we're going to check and update. This is the initialization. Now let us check, and then we're going to update. Wrong one. This one. There we go. Now we're going to do that formula that we spoke about earlier to calculate to, well, let me type it out, then I explain. I'm going to put it here as a comment so that we both can look at it at the same time. Okay. And oh, it's all in capitals. INT. We're going to name this variable Fahrenheit. You know what? Finish typing it. EIT. Fahrenheit space equals space. Yeah, let's start our whole situation. So we're going to do our mathematics. So 9 times this times Celsius divided by 5 plus 32. Plus 32. Boom. Okay. This will convert the current Celsius temperature to Fahrenheit using the formula as shown here. And we use this so that there will be whole numbers. Okay, now we just need to print it out. After this, so system print, da da da. I'm just copy this because I don't want no issues. I was trying to copy and paste Celsius. There we go. Put it in here. Celsius. Celsius is a variable, so it does not need to be in these. Plus space, plus space. Now, I'm going to do this. Tab, tab. We're going to do a double tab so that there's space in between. Plus our other variable, Fahrenheit. Just going to copy this one right here. I don't want no issues with no typos. I don't want typos. Okay. Anyway, busting at me for what? Hmm. Okay, so let's explain this portion of the code. This portion of the code will print this portion of the code right here, this last little section, this last little bit, will print the current Celsius temperature and its Fahrenheit equivalent. The tabs are to add 2 tab spaces between the Celsius and the Fahrenheit values for a so that it's easier to see. Let's save that. Ah, let's save that. Now let's do Alt Shift F to make sure it's formatted correctly. I added a few more of these so that it will look right. And let's run it. And it shows the Celsius, which will be 0 to 20, as specified here. And then the Fahrenheit will calculate and come out to all of these different numbers, as done here. Thanks for watching. Bye bye, everyone.